What's going on, everybody? It is Coops Hoops, and today we're going to be ranking all of the NBA teams again, but this time we have a bigger sample size. We're going to be ranking them more based off what they've done this season instead of projections, if you get what I'm saying. So, yeah, it's going to be the same as we did a couple videos back, but we're just going to do it based on what we've seen this season. So, in the A tier, the first team I'm going to move up there is the Philadelphia 76ers. Joel Embiid's playing at an MVP level. They're getting a lot out of Tobias Harris, and they're also getting 25 a game out of Tyrese Maxey. And the players that they got in the Clippers trade are actually playing pretty decent for them, like Nick Batum is providing a pretty good role for them. So I'm excited about what the 76ers are doing so far. But I'm not buying into them in terms of the playoffs. We all know what happens to Joel Embiid in the playoffs. He either gets injured or he plays bad. So yeah, we're going to leave them in the A tier for right now, based off the first 3 weeks of the season. The next team we are going to move up into that A tier is the Celtics. They're a great team. They play a lot of good basketball, and their defense has been stepping up this year, and they're also getting better on the offensive end. It's a scary sight to see them play so well this early in the season, knowing that they'll continue to progress and continue to get better as the season goes on. And as we keep moving forward, we will go with the Nuggets also in the A tier. Not much to say about the Nuggets. They look really, 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 really good. Jokic is playing again at an MVP level, and the rest of their role players are playing just as they need to do to win these games, and they're just playing dominantly, and it's a really fun basketball to watch, honestly. And as we go down, we're going to the B tier. And this might be a little bit of a shock, but I want to move the Mavs up to the B tier solely because of Luka Doncic. He is one of the best players in the NBA. He's playing at an MVP caliber level, and this team is doing great things so far in the season. They're struggling to really sure in the center position, but I think as the season goes on, they'll get some good play at Derek Lively. So yeah, I'm excited about what the Mavericks can do. And as we keep moving going, we will go to the Timberwolves. Now, the Timberwolves have been my league pass team. You know, I love watching the Timberwolves play. Just kidding. I hate Rudy Gobert. I haven't watched a lot of Timberwolves games, but I did watch when Anthony Edwards took over. And so far, this team's looking pretty good. The on-off numbers for Rudy Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns are actually pretty good. When they're both on the floor, they have good offense and good defense. When Karl Anthony Towns is on the floor, they have good offense, poor defense. When Rudy Gobert's on the floor, they have good defense, poor offense. But it's not as bad as it was last year. Their defense is still pretty good when Karl Anthony Towns is on the floor, and their offense is still pretty good when Rudy Gobert's on the floor. So I think they're figuring out this experiment that they're doing with these two centers. However, I haven't watched enough Timberwolves basketball to say that they're an A-tier team. So we're going to leave them in B. And if we go to the next B team, we're talking about my team here, talking about the Golden State Warriors. They're playing great basketball. Steph Curry's having one of the best seasons of his career, and they're just doing what they need to do to win games so far. And I'm pretty proud of what we're doing. I like how our bench unit is coming in and playing. I just think that we need to shore up our defense at the start of the second half. I see us kind of let up and give up a lot of runs right as we start out of the second half, and I think that'll make us, if we shore that up, I think we can have better fourth quarters, because in the fourth quarter we've been having to fight against the Cavs, against a lot of different teams, and end up winning on some game winners or losing. It's been tough in the fourth quarter for us, so I think we just need to shore up our defense right at the start of the third quarter coming out of halftime, and we'll be able to string some more wins together. And if we keep on going, another B tier team is the Pacers. They're playing pretty well. I'm liking the way the Pacers are playing. Tyrese Halliburton is running this offense, and all of the role players are complimenting him so well. We saw him take over and hit that game-sealing shot a couple nights ago. So I'm really liking the way the Pacers are playing basketball. Do I think that they are a contender? Not even close. But will they be a high seed in the East? I think they'll be around the 4 to 5 range so far in the season if I had to project. But I like the way the Pacers are playing. And if we move on a little bit more, I know this team has a bad record, but we've seen the Suns play well. We've seen KD put up 38 against LeBron. This team is well constructed, and I'm liking the way I'm seeing it so far. I'm not too worried about them, so I'm going to keep them in the B tier, even though they're 4 and 5, I believe. And now we're going to get onto the C tier, where the first team I have in there is the OKC Thunder. I kind of wanted to put them in B tier, but I'm going to keep them in the C tier just because they're so young. But they've been playing really well. They play really good defense. Chet has been amazing for them. Shea hasn't done it as well as he did last year, but I'm not worried about that. So we're going to keep the Thunder in C tier. The next team we're going to put in C tier is the Kings. They're playing almost the exact same basketball as they did last season. So honestly, they probably should be in the B tier. But I think the teams around them have gotten so much better that they're going to stay in the C tier for me right now. And the next team we're going to go to is the Heat. I had them ranked lower in my last video, but I think that they are just too good to not put them in the C tier. I think that they do what they need to do to win games, and I'm really happy for them, honestly, because they're stringing together some good players, and their rotation's looking a lot more fluid than it did at the start of the season. So I'm happy for what they've done so far. If we move on to the next team, we're going to go to the Atlanta Hawks. They're starting to play a little bit better basketball. I'm not going to lie. They're starting to play what we see as Atlanta Hawks basketball, which is run the offense through Trae Young, but then we're also seeing guys like DeJounte Murray hit game winners. So I'm liking the way that they are actually getting comfortable in the offense. And then their defensive end has been okay, which I think is all they really need to do because their offense could be so good. If we keep moving on, we'll go to another good team so far is the Magic. Paulo Banchero has been really good. Franz Wagner has been really good. I think this team has the pieces right now, those building blocks, to be a solid team in the future. I think what they need, honestly, is just better center play. I do like Wendell Carter, but I think if they could shore up that center position with a stud, that this team could be really good in the future. I just think that they rely a little bit too much on Paolo to get rebounds, which kind of worries me. In the games that I've watched so far, it's just been a little bit lacking at that center position, in my personal opinion. And as we move on, the next team we're going to go to is the Bucks. Now, should they be in B tier just based on projection? Probably. But the first 3 weeks of the season has not looked pretty for them. There's been games where Dame has been playing really well, but there's also been games where him playing really well is just shooting 20 free throws. If you're a box score watcher, you'll see, he has 35, but really he doesn't have 35. He has 20 free throws, and he's 2 for 17 from the field. He's had some rough games. But I think this team will start to put it together. I think it's just taking them a little bit longer to mesh than other teams, which I think is fine. So I'm not really worried about the Bucks, but their start of the season has been a little bit discouraging. So we're going to put them in the C tier. The next team we're going to put there is the New York Knicks. I really don't like watching the Knicks play, and I feel like they get every primetime game. I don't even know exactly what they call it. It's Sunday, and I was thinking about Sunday Night Football, and they keep calling it primetime. Anyway, so the New York Knicks are going to go in the C tier, and that's because Julius Randle. Julius Randle holds this team back, honestly, because he needs to take the shots that he needs to take to be a good player, but those shots are so tough. So he holds them back in terms of how far they'll be able to go, and so I'm going to keep them in the C tier. And I think the last team I'm going to put in the C tier is the Cavs. Yeah, the Cavs are going to go in the C tier for me. They've actually been playing really well when their whole team's been healthy, so I'm happy for what they've been doing when they've had their whole healthy roster. They look pretty solid, except I think what they are looking for is solid wing play. We saw at the start of the season Max Strus knock down a lot of threes and be consistent and play good defense, but right now he's hitting a little bit of a cold streak. I'm not too worried about that, but he had played a pretty minimal role for the Heat in terms of the start of the season last year, and then when he turned it up, he shot more and he shot better percentages, and I think it's hard for someone to string that together for a full 82-game season. So for right now, they're just going to be in the C tier. I want to put the Clippers in the C tier, so I'm going to, and that's strictly based off of Paul George. He's been amazing. He's an MVP candidate in my opinion so far. But the James Harden experiment is not looking too good. They're 0-4 with James Harden on the roster. They're on a 5-game losing streak. The offense looks stagnant. I'm not too keen on the Clippers right now because, like I said about the Bucks, it's going to take them a long time to gel. However, James Harden to me is just a cancer. I think that he demands a system around him, kind of like he said, like I am the system. I think he demands a certain type of play around him, and I think that's dangerous for the Clippers because I think they play better when it's fluid and the ball's moving. And I mean, Paul George is one of the most smoothest players in the NBA, and I think it's tough for a guy like James Harden to come in and kind of take his touches away. So for now, I'm just going to keep him in the C tier. I kind of wanted to put him D, but I'm going to keep him in the C. So now we're moving on to the D tier, the Nets. Just being the Nets. I'm not trying to hate on the Nets. I'm just saying they're a D tier team. They're not up here. They're here. I haven't watched a ton of Nets basketball, but I know that Cam Thomas was a huge part of their rotation. He's injured right now, so I think I'm just going to keep them in the C tier, or the D tier, sorry. And the next team we're going to put there is the Raptors. They've kind of exceeded my expectations, honestly. They've been playing pretty well, but I'm not too high on them, to be honest. But they've exceeded my expectations so far this season, so I'm happy for them. And as we keep going, we're gonna go to the Pistons. Now they do, I think, have the worst record in the NBA, but they have some promising talents. They have Asar Thompson averaging, I think, the third most blocks in the NBA. Is it a men or is it Asar? I think it's Asar. Anyway, like I said, I think they moved down a little bit for me from where they were before. Valanciunas is really physical and he gets a ton of rebounds, but I'm just not liking it's been their problem the whole time. They don't have a lot of spacing on the floor, so I'm just going to keep them in the C tier for now. The next team C tier, sorry. The next team we're going to put in the D tier is the Spurs. They're okay. They're fine. Wemby's good. Devin Vassell's been great, but I think this team is just too young. And I think they just need to continue to gel and continue to work as a team, and they will take that next step. But I think this season they're going to stick around the D tier for me. And the next team we're going to put D tier is the Grizzlies. Now you might be like, they're 2-8, they were 0-6 or whatever they were, 0-5. Why are they in the D tier? I'm just encouraged by the way they're playing without John Morant. They are seeing some bright spots like Desmond Bane. Marcus Smart is playing really well offensively, in my personal opinion. The stats might not show it, but the eye test, I see him take the ball off the dribble with a lay. He's doing things that he hasn't done before, and that's uncomfortable. So I'm thinking the Memphis Grizzlies are in the D tier for me, not in the F tier. As we move on to the F tier, we're going to go Hornets, Blazers, Rockets. We'll put in D tier, actually. Bulls are F tier, Jazz are F tier, and that's F tier as well. These teams all suck. These teams right here, I will not be watching them. I hate watching them. They're not fun, especially the Bulls, especially the Jazz, especially the Wizards, especially the Hornets. And the only reason I kind of like watching Portland is because of Shaedon Sharpe, and that's really it. And that leaves us with the Lakers. So I think I'm going to put the Lakers in C tier as well. It's kind of like what LeBron said. He compared them to the Steelers. Like, they're around 500, but they probably shouldn't be. Anthony Davis he's just not very good this season. He hasn't been playing well. It's not consistent. It's just pretty weak from Anthony Davis so far. And I need to see more from him if I want to say, okay, they're in the B tier with these teams so far. So yeah, I'm just going to keep them right here for now. And that's all 30 teams. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys project these teams to do in the rest of the season. And I'm really interested to see especially how these teams turn out, if they'll just be a bottom feeder. But I think we will just call it a video there. So if you liked the video, please like the video. And if you are feeling extra generous today, I'd appreciate it if you would subscribe. And I will catch you in the next video. Coops Hoops out.